TSF Entertainment.
Yo, and welcome back to TSF Entertainment. This time we are bringing you Raising Kanan, Episode 5, The Nail That Sticks Up, exclusive picks and predictions. So let's just go ahead and get right into it. Episode 5 synopsis says, Raq and Marvin navigate a dwindling supply of product while Lou and Amani scout artists together. Joyce's condition worsens. Famous mother desperately tries to find him. So here we have none other than Quan, and he's sitting down having a meeting with none other than Raq. In this scene right here, Raq tells Quan she moves things with a plan and the purpose. So I'm thinking here, this is where Raq is telling Quan that his services are no longer needed, as she has now secured her own plug and become her own distro after taking Tremont's plug, as we saw in the last episode. Here we have Kanan and OC. And in this scene here, Kanan tells him, if you do what I tell you, you'll be alright. So I'm thinking quite possibly that OC has spoken to Kanan about continuing to move product out of this spot after it got hit. As we see a gun right there on the dresser. And he's becoming worried that another one may happen again, since Unique has already hit the spot and he no longer feels safe. Now, does OC tell Kanan that it was Unique, or describes the person to Kanan about who it was that robbed him? I don't think so, just based off of Kanan's tone and response to OC. I think it's more so that OC just does not feel safe anymore at the spot after it got hit. Here we have Marvin and Juke. And as we can see, Juke is patching Marvin up from his cut from unaliving Mar's husband during the fight. Also in this scene, Marvin talks with Juke and says, we never discuss anything that happened at Mar's husband's home. Basically, Juke unaliving Mar's husband. So it's quite possible that Juke, as we know from her in the original Power, this is where we get the cold-hearted, and for Juke it was nothing. She just basically tells him, it was your life or his, it's over and done with, where Marvin kind of wants to get more in depth with her on what she did and how she's feeling about it and whatnot. Also could be quite possible that he tells Juke that, hey, what happened there has to stay between me and you. Here we get a flashback scene. We see right here, we have a young Famous, his sister Jess, and Famous mom. And we can see them back in happier times. But here in this scene right here, judging by Fame's mom's face, I'm assuming that there was some type of abuse from Famous father. And they leave him and they go to a shelter for the time being, just to get away from Famous father. So we know in this episode we will get a flashback scene of a young Famous and his family. As like the synopsis stated, Famous mom is desperately trying to find out where Famous is. Here we have Marv and Terry. And from the last episode, Terry told them that he no longer wanted to be in business with them anymore after the hits on multiple restaurants, which we know was Unique. Multiple restaurants had got hit and people were unalived. Like here, Marvin is still trying to convince him and lets him know, like, hey, what little bit of product that we have, we're still going to continue to move product along with they are now getting a new distro. So he's saying to him, hey, we're about to get more product. So we're still going to be needing the warehouses to move product. And of course, we know Terry is still reluctant and does not want to do it after all of the hits on the different restaurants. So of course, they go to none other than Terry. Well, Terry has been wanting to be in the business from jump. He also took the money from Raq after what happened at the warehouse. So Here we know Rock plays no games. So Rock and Marv are basically convincing Terry to go to Dave to tell him that, hey, you're going to talk to your brother and you're going to get him to work with us to continue while we move product through the warehouses, or we'll have to take both of you out. It could quite possibly also be that Dave and Terry no longer want to work with Rock and Marv as they are cutting out their family member Quan from the business. And as we see, this is the aftermath of the picture that you just saw from the scene of the next episode. This scene right here, Rock tells Marvin to press hard, but not too hard. And I'm thinking that is where she's telling Marv that he needs to go out there and press a little bit harder to find out who's been hitting their spots. But she wants him to do it discreetly, as she says, not too hard. Here we have Juke in Mama Joy's kitchen. And this could be before or the after scene from where their grandmother falls down. As we know, her condition is getting worse and worse. I'm thinking here they're just stopping by just to check on her, and while they're checking on her because her condition is getting so worse, she takes a nasty little spill down on the floor. Here we have Marvin coming to meet with his mother. Now, it could be quite possible, as we got on the last episode, we get a heart-to-heart scene with Marv and his mom, Mama Joyce, and they discuss his upbringing and how he felt growing up after their father unalived himself and him having to take care of the family and becoming a man as they were growing up. Here we have Lou and none other than Imani. Quite sure they are discussing Brilla and how to market him once again. As we know, Lou is not too thrilled about working with her. But as the synopsis stated, they will be scouting for new talent for the record label. We have Marv and Rock here in the kitchen. Now, I'm not too clear on this scene right here, but from the looks of it, we can see that Rock doesn't get good news. So this quite possibly may be the scene where Marv tells Rock about the unaliving of Marv's husband and what happened with Juke, and Juke having to take him out since Marv's husband was on the verge of stabbing him. Here we have Juke, famous mom, and Kanan. Like earlier, the synopsis stated, she is desperately trying to find her son. We also know from the last episode where Kanan had a discussion with Lou, he doesn't really want to think about what happens to Famous because he has an idea, but he still wants to find out. So, thinking here, Famous mom reaches out to Kanan and Juke to try to find out exactly what happened to Fame, what happened to her son. So they go over there just to talk with her and see, get some type of story of the last time she saw Famous, what happened with the whole turning in the gun and everything. And I'm sure Famous mom is probably going to have some type of regrets for even turning in that gun and getting Famous locked up in the first place, as since he is now missing. Here in this scene right here, we have Kanan. This is the infamous crying scene that we've all seen on the trailer, as he has on the red Nike Air sweatshirt. Also in his hand, he has a tape, which is none other than a tape that Famous made. And here is that infamous scene where he's breaking down crying. Now, it could be a multiple of things. One, we may finally find out exactly what happened to Famous, as we see in this scene, he breaks down hard. It could also be that he breaks down from not knowing what happened to Famous, and it's now affecting him, as that was his best friend. And the other one, of course, as what the synopsis says, Joy's condition worsens. So it could be that he gets the call that finally that his grandmother Joyce has finally passed on. So from seeing those scenes there, you let us know down in the comments what you think based off of those. Let us know your predictions on those scenes that you just saw.